Coach Dave McDonough from Coach's Corner Podcast. We're at the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame tonight. We're going to be doing our interview with Katie Taylor. Stay tuned for that. All right, welcome back, Coach Dave McDonough, Coach's Corner Podcast. We have a great guest here at the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame induction, Pro Boxer of the Year, champion. What else can I say? Katie Taylor, welcome. We appreciate you taking the time out, come out here. Got a busy night. What can we say? Great year.
Absolutely a great year, and such an honor to be here and to accept this award as Fighter of the Year. I've been living over here for the last 8 or 9 years, and this really has become home to me.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for this award, and it's so great to see all these familiar faces as well.
How did you come to find the state of Connecticut?
Yeah, I know people often ask me, how did you end up in Vernon, Connecticut, of all places? But when I turned pro, I teamed up with Ross, my coach Ross, and he lives here in Connecticut, and so I basically just moved over here to be close to him. It was probably the biggest sacrifice I had to make, to be honest, just living away from my family and my friends, but I knew that this is what I took to become world champion again. And
well, look at the sacrifices, right? As a fighter, you make sacrifices. Exactly. Your team, your family, your loved ones, everybody around you, and look at the dividends that is paid. I mean, 3 outstanding fights with Amanda Serrano, history-making fights. I was at the first one, unbelievable fight. And, you talk about your team and Coach Ross, who's a big part of everything. Great job preparing you. Walk us through, in the beginning of your career, was the expectation to be where you are today and really the serenity of it right now?
Definitely, I don't think, if you asked me like maybe 10 years ago, did I think I was going to be headlining like in Madison Square Garden, I think I would have been laughing at them, but here we are. I think I've gone to higher heights than I ever could have imagined, really, and just being involved in these mega fights, being involved in history-making fights, and being involved in female fights that are actually elevated women's boxing. That to me is just everything, because that's what I want my legacy to be. I want it to be for the next generation of female fighters coming up. I want them to have these opportunities, and that's who I was fighting for on those nights, and what a privilege it is to be headlining those big iconic stadiums and these big mega fights. And
I mean, you put female fighting and female boxing on the map. Your fights, I mean, the first fight at the Garden sold out, unbelievable. Then you go back home to fight, and then back here in the States again. I mean, and great fights, like one better than the other. And I need to ask you though, the last fight, you looked amazing, more relaxed. You were in control of the fight, like from the rip. What were the adjustments that you and your team made after the first 2? And as a fighter now, you and Amanda going back and forth, you got all the promo. Is it hard to fight somebody back to back, like constantly after knowing each other in the game?
Yeah, I think I always do very well in rematches, because you kind of know your opponent very, very well. I fought Amanda now over 30 rounds. I know her very well, and I always knew, even from the first 2 fights, I always knew that I could win the fight a lot easier. I just didn't want to be caught up in another war again.
Yeah. And
that's what I took. And the first 2 fights were a bit of a war. I knew going into the 3rd fight, I just don't want to be in another war again. I need to use my legs. And that was something I was focused on during the whole training camp, really, is making sure my legs were working well, making sure my legs were strong for the fight. And thankfully I was able to execute the game plan. That was always a game plan, even the first 2 fights, but I just got caught up in a bit of a war.
Yeah. And they were.
Yeah.
Now, let me go to this, back to Coach Ross. And I think, watching the fights, in the first fight, integral part in the fight, and I remember as a coach, with his instruction in the corner was so spot on and got you right back in the fight. Tell me about the dynamic with you and Coach Ross, because he seems like a very humble, well-reserved, quiet coach. He's not out there, but watching him and you work, especially during the fights, his instruction is really concise and on point.
And that's what you want as a fighter. You want to be stepping back to the corner knowing that you can trust your coach. And Ross's instructions are always very, very clear, very direct. He doesn't overwhelm the fighter in between rounds either. And when you're in close fights like that, sometimes the difference can be the coaches.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen that even in the last fight, the difference between Ross and the difference between, say, Amanda's corner was very, very evident, I think, during that fight.
I agree with you there, and not to talk about anybody else, I saw a big difference there. You know, if you and the way fights can get out of hand real quick in a big fight. If there's, you know, you were calm, you kept to your game plan, you stuck to it. Your legs looked amazing. You did box. What can we see next? I know there's a lot of speculation out there. Who you should fight? What? Who do you see yourself next?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm just waiting to see what the next steps actually are for myself. It's been such a hectic few years for me, and for the first time, I think maybe in 10 years, I'm actually taking a bit of a break.
Taking a deep breath.
Yeah, taking a deep breath, and I'm just trying to see what's out there, what the best options are out there are for me. There's obviously the Chantal Cameron trilogy. There's obviously there's lots of big fights out there for me potentially. So. I'm just looking forward and excited to see what's actually next, to see what makes sense to me. Yeah. I'm just waiting to see right now.
We see Jake Paul making a big splash. What's your feeling on that, as far as he's signing a lot of fighters and making a lot of fights, which I kind of find interesting, because he's matching off pretty much to give everybody an opportunity to show their skill. I know you were on the card. Is he good for boxing?
Yeah, I mean, I can't have any complaints, because he's done a lot for me in my career. He's done great things for Amanda Serrano. I think Jake Paul gets a lot of flack because he hasn't got a boxing background, but he does have an entertainment background, and professional boxing is the entertainment industry, and so he knows all about that. He can dive into that, he can harness that, and I think he's done a great job for boxing over these last few years, promoting these fights.
Well, bringing it to Netflix, I think, brings the sport global. Exactly, right. So, you know, the hardcore fans, we're going to find a way to watch the fights, right? Exactly, yeah. But now the world is seeing the stage of everything, and now your hard work over the years is being put out there by people saying, wow, you know. Quick question. Life after boxing, what do you think it is?
Yeah, gosh.
Are you in the sport? Are
I
you a
hope
trainer?
So, yeah.
Are you a coach? Are you a promoter?
Yeah, I definitely would love to stay involved in the sport. I think I've been boxing since I was 9 or 10 years of age. I've been in the gym my whole childhood. I felt like my house growing up was even a boxing gym, because my dad was a boxer. He was always training in the house. So I don't think I would know what to do if I didn't have boxing in my life. It is a huge part of my life. So I'm always going to be in the gym, and I'm always going to have a hand somewhere in the sport, I would say. But I also just got married, say, a year and a half ago as well.
Congratulations!
So, thank you so much. So it's great to have a bit of time with him.
A little bit of personal time.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You need that time.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you're a great sport. A great advocate for the sport at not only the female level, but at every level. And I think, honestly, as a role model, you out there give a lot of inspiration to everybody. We really appreciate you taking the time out. We know you're busy and everything. Katie Taylor, Pro Boxer of the Year, Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame 2025, a Mohegan Sun. What else can I say? World champion.